CFO Playbook by CEO East Africa Magazine in association with SECA Uganda and Deloitte.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the CFO Playbook, a show of the CEO East Africa Magazine in partnership with SECA Uganda and Deloitte Uganda, where we get into the minds of CFOs, assuming they will not put a firewall, and we get to understand their journey to leadership, to financial leadership, in the hope that in there you can pick lessons, especially for those upcoming leaders in the finance profession. With me here is Robinah Siima, the CFO of FINCA Uganda Limited. FINCA Uganda Limited is an MDI, and at some point we'll be asking her to tell us a little bit more about what they do. But welcome to the show.
Thank you.
All right, so let's start by you telling us about yourself, especially those things that we do not know. Yes.
Thank you. So my name is Robinah Siima, like you have said, the CFO for FINCA Uganda. FINCA is part of a multinational network of FINCA International. So what's it about me? Yes, I am FINCA Uganda's first female CFO, very exciting. But what is it that most people don't know about me? I'm very passionate about children, and half my time outside the official work is really into children events. I sit on boards of schools, leadership teams of schools, and that helps me to declutter my head from the typical CFO work.
Okay.
Yeah, and also I love fun. So much fun, yeah.
Okay. How come I haven't met you in areas where you have fun? Where do you have your fun from?
I have fun. It depends on the activities. I love movies. I like to hang out in quiet places as well. But like I said, I love children, so I hang out a lot in areas that have kids' activities going on.
Okay.
Yes.
I think you're trying to tell me that I go in very noisy
places. Maybe you're not going to school.
Okay, very interesting. And nothing about family. I expected you saying you love children. I expected you to tell us about some children.
Yes, I love children. I love children, yes. I skipped that. I am a mother of three babies under 8 years. 8 years, 6 years, and 4 years, yeah. And it's been the most exciting journey and the most how do I call it? It's been one of the key lessons, being able to merge the two, being a perfect mom, a close to perfect mom, impossible though, and then being a CFO and a finance professional over time. So of course I love children, yeah, and that's one bit that keeps exciting me, yeah.
One of the key things you do as a parent, you have to do some bit of tough love. You have to show them the right way, but at the same time be very firm. And is that the same kind of leadership you have as at the workplace?
Yes, the answer will be yes. And strange as it may sound, the relationship I have with my kids at home is literally a mirror of the relationship I have with my workmates, my team. And I guess that's one of the rare traits that I have as a CFO, something that's so unique about me. I'm all the time, full time, I'm a 2-in-1. You find me home with the kids, playtime is playtime. Work time is work time. At their very early age, they have plans, they have schedules. But then, of course, half the time, it's me running around with them and playing the mommy baby roles. But I have been able to mirror that into my life at the workplace. If you walked into our institution today, they would tell you that I'm one of the leaders, the HODs in FINCA Uganda, that has the best work-life balance. Like I'm having fun with my team, and the next minute I'm saying, where is my work? And my team is really, right now, they are very conversant with that. And it's highly helped me to quickly fit in with a team and be able to get the best out of them. Yeah. So
what's your survival? Because, it's not easy to have that delicate balance, knowing that this is where fun stops and this is where business starts. And even when you get to home, this is basically like marking those boundaries, especially also knowing that sometimes, not sometimes, most times as a CFO, and in the typical organization, the CFO and the CEO are the guys that know that they have the entire organization at their fingertips. When things are good, when things are bad. So how do you make sure you don't carry the stress into areas where it's not supposed to be?
Yeah, thank you. So, I must admit that historically, I have had challenges. Yeah, we don't talk about it, but I have had challenges. But then, as very well supported by the career background I had, having started my career with Ernst & Young, a global audit firm that had, I can comfortably say that EY had so much pressure. As in, I keep joking that I would wake up at 2 a.m. and I'm hugging a laptop. So there was so much pressure. I lived it for 5 years. I felt it. And then by the time I crossed into banking, it felt like so much relief, like, oh my God, these guys are living a very beautiful life. But then when I got there, I was still struggling because I was used to a very, very hard life. And that could have carried into my personal life. But then I had a retrain. You can have a life retrain. It's really up to you. And for me, I sat down and I had to retrain myself. That time I had 1 baby. By the time I got 3 babies, it was inevitable to retrain, because while you come from work with all that noise that I'm tired, I have targets, and working with an international institution whereby timing differences matter. It's 4 a.m. here, it's morning that side, and it's midnight and you're working, and then the babies want to play with you. So I had to adjust my life to fit in. Honestly speaking, it's been a journey. It's a journey, but I can say that in the last 2 years, of course, as we speak through, I will be able to explain to you how have I gotten there. But in the last 2 years, this has happened in my life. Yeah, and right now I'm there. I strictly stick to balance. I prioritize family time is family time. After 5 p.m., I switch to family mode. Before then, I am in work mode.
So next time I have an issue and I want to call you, I shouldn't call you after 5.
No, you can only call me after 5. If it's work, 8 to 5, because there, I'll pick every call, respond to everything. But once I step into home, I don't even carry my PC home.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah, but I use my phone.
Okay, so let's hear about how you got to finance. At what point did you decide that I want to be into finance, or you just found yourself there?
It's a very interesting story, but I guess God had it in plan for me, because having been an auditor for 5 years, 5 years with Ernst & Young, I never thought I would be in finance. Honestly speaking, some people think those 2 careers are the same. They are so different. Audit gives you a whole different picture, because you just got the client. And at that time, audit was not as advanced as today. You got the customer and you're just saying, I want to see this information, I want these books, I want to try your balance. So I had, of course, been used to that life. It's very interesting, because you're just going and saying, why are your financials having this number? Please adjust this, please remove this. And it's as easy as just saying it. But I woke up one day on a very unique day, and I got a call from the head of human resource that time in FINCA Uganda, Sarah Ikirapa, and she says, Robinah, we have your CV and we want to hire you. And I said, I didn't apply there. And she said, we have your CV. We would like to hire you. Till now, I don't know how she got this CV, but I said, let me come, did the interview, crossed into finance as a financial accountant. And the switch, my friend, from saying, I want the trial balance, to now me going to go back to the back end of the account and saying, where will I post this transaction, was a shock to me. 1 year shock. But once I picked up, it was the most interesting thing. And of course, it gave me leverage, because having the background of an auditor and then crossing into finance, it meant that even when someone comes to ask me a question, I already know what they want to ask me and I know what to answer. But that's what happened with my switch. And I can say it's the best decision that happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how did you get into audit in the first place? Or you were just there?
No. I was interning at Citibank then, under the times of Chinedu and Rachel as the HR then, straight from Makerere University Business School. And then, of course, I was an intern, with intern pay and the nice benefits, the simple, nice benefits of interns. And then I got of course, we're applying. That time, you're applying everywhere. I had a super first class, though. I was the best girl in my year with MOOBs. I had a super first class. And then I had the university plan out, really. That time, the recruiters look for the top performers. So Citibank had taken me, then I applied to EY, and then I emerged the one of the best people on the teams, and that's how I got hired, because it's my first real job straight from uni. Yeah.
So you never walked the streets of Kampala?
No, I never walked from the streets of Kampala. But of course, I'd get those calls from my parents like, oh, if Kampala fails, come back home. But I kept saying, no, if you have the right performance, you don't have to walk the streets.
Okay. So have you been in that moment where you feel like, okay, I think I need to call my parents that I'm coming home? Have you been in those moments?
In my career journey, yes, at Ernst and Young. And it happened every month. And I would say, Mommy, this is it. I'm done. Tomorrow, I'm going home. And then tomorrow she would remind me, okay, you can come back home. But is it what you want to do? My parents were all really in business. They are too serious. And they would remind me that I also can't be unemployed unless I want to run their businesses. But I think I was born for the world I'm in. It's not a mistake. So when I would wake up, and then EY does for us those evening drink ups, then I would get back to normal and say,
so it's a drink ups that kept you going.
Yeah, those breaks. Yeah, audit firms have those breaks where they come and say, we are sorry for the pressure, let's get back on track. And I realized it was one of the best things, otherwise you can have a nervous breakdown.
So have you carried the same to FINCA to say, we need some drink ups in between there?
Yes, like they say, every journey has its lessons. So every career journey I've gone through, I have learned from my worst experience, and I've also learned from my best experience, and I've merged that too. And for those, I believe they make me the person I am today, because I'm such a unique CFO, a very unique leader. So if you step into FINCA on an average day, at least once in a while, you'll find boxes of pizza. In my institution, we do the most celebrations. We have team ups, we have drink ups, we have pizza evenings, we have my assistant owns pork basket, Peter, so we have pork once in a while in the building. So we have all that going on, and we are saying, please work while you're eating.
I hope that doesn't end up in interest rates.
No, it cannot, because it's usually really personal funding, yes. So it's from the CFO's personal pocket, the bigger time, yeah.
Interesting. So I would love to hear about the in your journey looking back, any specific like challenges that you faced and you really were like, okay, I think this is the end of it all, or what are those key challenges that you think you faced, and then also in the same light, the milestones that you think maybe they're the key milestones that marked my journey, and why you think they're the milestones that marked your journey?
Yes, one of my really major challenges for me straight from school was the transition from the academic world to the practical world. You know, you can have all this knowledge in your head, but someone gives you a computer and says, do for me a presentation or do a word report, and the thing is not coming out, my friend. You will type, try to do whatever you can, and it's not coming out, and you're running out of time. For me, conversion of the theoretical knowledge to the practical experience was so bad, of course, attributed to the many challenges that happened in Uganda with the theory education we had. So I would have those challenges of conversion. And then the other one was, I've had a very unique challenge, and it's been fitting into the expectation. Sometimes that the public has a different, unique expectation of you. And for me, I had those moments where people just say, this one is just a hot girl chilling around. Yet I felt I was the most serious person. So every time I would be like, I'm very serious, I can deliver. Someone would be like, I don't know if you can. So it's always been about, you must show that you can. Yeah, but, and then of course the major challenge, which is striking the work-life balance. It's a real challenge. There was a time I had medical complications until I said, step back and, yeah, you know, reorganize yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm interested in finding out, okay, speaking for myself, I think how I got where I am, I think I got here by accident. I wanted to become a lawyer after S6. I failed to get the course by 0.1. And because I had not filled properly my job forms, I ended up doing social sciences. How I decided I wanted to start writing, I'm not very sure. But then I started writing interesting about relationships. Yeah. Then I ended up in business, and here we are. I don't know about you. Did you deliberately like choose to pursue this profession, or the profession like found you somewhere and you got converted and went with the flow?
No. Yes, my story is quite different from yours. The profession didn't choose me, I chose the profession. So back in high school at St. Mary's College in Magunga, the school tracked your career journey, looking at how you're studying and how you're passing and the grades you're getting. So they kept saying I meant to do arts or law, but my parents had a different story. They kept saying I meant to be a doctor. Up to senior 5, that was my dad's dream, but I knew that I couldn't even touch blood. So by the time I get to senior 4, because I was working with my father, who is a business person, for all the years I can remember, he would import containers for clearing, and he would be like, calculate for me how much I'm going to pay for this container, and it would be a very big struggle for me, and it would be like, I need the numbers. I need to know how much profit I'm going to make. As early as senior 4, I would have to estimate my dad's profit on the containers he would be clearing or importing. And for me, it was a very big challenge. And I kept telling myself, I need to be able to support my dad. Because for me, at that early age, I knew I had to support my dad in this. And he had to keep hiring accountants. And they wouldn't have enough time for him. So by the time I got senior 5, I knew that this is the career that I want to take. How to get there, I didn't know. But I knew that if I study an arts course in those lines of math and economics, I'll get there. And that's the career support I got from Namagunga, getting me onto that journey. By the time I'm in MOOBS, because I came in straight through BCom, I knew what I wanted. I even knew in first year that I would do finance when they took us through the career guidance. So for me, it's been like that from the start. And because I knew early, I have been focused towards that direction, because I kept saying I have to prove my dad wrong, that I can show him his forecast performance. You know, girls, we have something about showing our dads that we can work hard and we can be sharp. Yeah, so that's the journey really for me.
So do you sometimes go back and help your dad forecast the...
I do. I'm still his advisor. Up to now in his business and in his investments. Even when he gets his money, he says, what can I do with it? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And have you done a good job?
Very good job. He's one of the most successful men in the country, so I'm doing a very good job.
Does he pay you?
No. For him, it's pro bono. For him, it's pro bono, yes, because it's a give back to the parents.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Then, of course, looking at your day, how it is structured, and what would you say your typical day is like, or typical week? How do you organize it in a way that keeps you organized, or do you sometimes allow for some random stuff that comes in?
Yeah, the ad hocs. For starters, I'm too organized. I've been too organized for a very long time. At least I can comfortably say for some reason, like I said, based on my career background, being an auditor requires that you're organized. Otherwise, you run around. So that has already really been instilled into my bloodline. But on a typical day, I wake up as early as 5 a.m. I am the one who drops my kids to school right now to ensure that they have whatever they need. I can't leave that responsibility to someone. And then I'm at office. Reporting time is 8. And for me, and I'm the only probably HOD in my institution that has a noteboard where I sit, because on the board I have indicated what has to be done. I pin it there every week, and I have a digital tracker that shows what my teams are doing in the different units. And not that I choke them, but I think it's important to supervise, to understand what your team is dealing with and what they are doing. So on any given day, I may not ask my staff that, what are you doing today? But I'll be knowing what they are doing and when I expect it. So really, of course, as a leader, that means half my time is in meetings. Yeah, less time in operations work, but supervision to ensure that deliverables are really met in time.
Actually, my next question was going to be, but I'll still ask it. Looks like you are too organized yourself. So how do you, don't you make it too difficult for your people to fail,
No, about 3 years ago, like I mentioned earlier on during this interview, that I had bad experiences that I learned from and good ones that I learned from. So whichever experience version you get is a learning point for you. So I've worked in about 3 big institutions, and in those 3 big institutions, each of them carries a different angle of being organized. In FINCA, when I was in FINCA as a junior then, my supervisor then was the one of, please schedule yourself, organize yourself, but give me my numbers. When I went to Electricity Regulatory Authority, ERA is so organized. Like, from the time you clock in to what you're going to do on Monday, there's a meeting and a debrief to how the Friday will end. There's serious communication systems. It is system after system. So I have learned from those two, and I was able to merge that too. And no, I'm not too organized, not too serious, but I also appreciate the fact that depending on the role that you handle, sometimes it's important to be organized, because you see, finance is a very different department. It's a department where if you miss a deadline, you have missed it. You're going to get fined. If you don't handle a decision, there'll be no revenues, there'll be no profitability, you will destabilize investors and stakeholders. So the nature of the role requires that you're organized. There's no shortcut about it. Yeah.
So, I mean, given the strict nature of the business, I mean, for one reason or another, there's always you fail. Sometimes you fall. I want to find out, you as a person, have you learned what would you say is your survival strategy in terms of, especially when you hit failures or setbacks? How do you handle that at the personal level and professionally and within the team?
Yes. So my first strategy is that I should not break down. And breaking down not breaking down requires that you're comfortable mentally with what went wrong, in order to say what went wrong and what can I do to get out of it. If you know what went wrong, with what put you down, and you're able to think about what will take me out of it, then your survival strategy will be that you keep calm. I'm very calm. I cannot get out of order. If
even
you find me,
the roof is coming down.
Yes, I mean, I have times when I have a deadline, and then my assistant, one of them is like, my laptop has crashed. But of course, at the back of your head, you're saying, should I carry this table and throw it in the ceiling and bring it back down? But to your junior, you must look calm, because if you don't look calm, they all get out of order and no one will deliver. So for me, that's been my best strategy. It is calmness, but also it's consistently growing my knowledge, because in every situation, I'm looked at for a solution. So if I don't have that knowledge, then I cannot be calm, then I'll be running around, and there'll be no strategy at all.
So you're the guys who were singing when the Titanic was sinking.
Yes, we'll be singing from outside, but at the back of your mind, you're thinking about, oh my goodness, what am I going to do to get out of it?
But then when that whole pressure is boiling up, where do you because I mean, when the pressure is inside, but then you're projecting things are okay, how do you let out the pressure eventually,
Yes, one of the key learnings I had, and I had to immediately implement, was a turnaround time on the decisioning. When something goes wrong, how long do you take to accept that it has gone wrong? And how long do you take to implement a solution? So that's very key, because the longer you take, the worse it gets. But so I have so much speed in my working, in my decisioning, in my thought process. My speed is very fast. I have had a time when my teams have said, you're leaving us behind, you're moving too fast, and I'm like, I need to move fast. But how do I let out my pressure and stress? I love movies. I'm such a movie person. So strange to say, I watch a movie every day. Every single day, I watch a movie. That's people read books and many other things. I watch a movie. I do that. I've done that every day. Yeah.
Did you watch the what's it called, the Haste?
Yes, I did, the Money Haste.
Where people are getting to the bank vault.
Yes, I watched.
No further questions on that. Okay, just there's something that actually I had packed somewhere, and I think you did say you spent quite some bit of time in auditing, and then of course you crossed over to at Finance 101. I want to hear about your first two, three engagements with an auditor. I'm sure, and how you approached it. I'm sure, I don't know. Did you feel like you're too comfortable? You are in familiar space, and like, how was it?
Yes, and that's a really nice question, because it's a very unique experience. When you've been in an audit firm, in external audit, and then you get to cross over into finance. So at the start, I had always one question. You come and tell me, hi, I will audited your financials, I will look at your ledgers, and we have seen ABC, and I'm like, what's my risk? Where is the risk? And I always said, I don't see the risk. That's a mild process for me. I can't concentrate on it now. And then the auditor is saying, no, you have to focus on this. So I had a struggle of that mind struggle, really. The acceptance, reaching that point of saying that, let's all calm down, because we reached a point, and they will always know, by the way, because I left EY, but at that time when I came to FINCA was under the audit of Deloitte, actually, under the audit of Deloitte, and thank God for Deloitte's calmness, because they had a very unique way of audit different from EY. EY, the pressure was real. Deloitte came in with a very calm, brought a very calm environment of let's discuss, let's talk. That time, it was my first time to really experience that. We're doing it in EY, but it was a little bit different. So when Deloitte comes in, and then I'm like, okay, I need to calm down. So at some point, the first team I worked with then, I think it was Jerry, is my friend up to now, we had ego issues. I'll take it, I won't take it. But after, it took us 4 months, by the way. It's that long. Say, let's calm down and discuss. And that's how
it took you 4 months to agree that you need to calm down.
Yeah, of course, and that's external audit. But amidst that, you have internal audit. For internal audit, it's a daily war. Okay,
actually, that raises another issue of, I think, having worked around different departments, rather organizations, and you also mentioned there's that bit of, and I think banks every 2-3 years you're supposed to have a new auditor. Yes. And working with all these different people, what do you see any? Because at the end of the day, you guys are supposed to be the same finance, but I guess what makes a difference is the style and approach and everything. What have you learned from all these conversations, and how have they influenced your own leadership style?
Yes, and my key learning was there's no solid solution to a problem. And going through different institutions, because you can see I moved from Citibank as an intern, came to EY, different problems, different solutions. I came to FINCA, and by the way, when I came to FINCA, I didn't do one role. I came in as a financial accountant. 2.5 years later, I came from maternity leave, and my boss had moved me to management reporting, my most dreaded position and role. I had fear. And each of them came with its unique challenges and solutions. And then, of course, yes, you're right. Firms, banks, institutions do change auditors periodically, and I've been able to work with at least Deloitte and KPMG, and then BDO. And they all come with their different requirements. They have different audit methodologies. And then they find me with my different style of work. And so we've had to have a compromise and say, ultimately, we are all focusing on the financial health of the institution. So for me, the key learning has been that focus on what's the ultimate goal and develop different measures that will lead you to that goal. Yeah, so it's not that it must be the way it's being done everywhere. You have to develop a solution for the unique circumstances.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm making an assumption,
Yes.
and you could tell me if I'm right or wrong. I've been looking at your LinkedIn and trying to add up the years. You look young. You are young. And rising to this role of CFO of one of the, big financial institutions in your category is certainly no mean feat. And in such a short time, like they say in Uganda, how do you think this has been able to happen? What do you attribute it to?
Thank you. That's totally true as well. But for me, I attribute all this to focus. People have different ways in which they view focus. But for me, it's always been, where do I want to be? How do I want to see myself, and how do I want to be remembered? But also given that I do a lot of mentorships, for youngsters and the ladies, I do a lot of talk shows and consultancies. I've always wanted to create influence. So it is true that I've had all these academic qualifications, for instance, done in a period of 8 years, all of them from SCCA. For me, the key bit has been I understood that I needed to have accelerated career growth. Yeah, but for some reason, my mind works really fast. So how do I get there? You may say that I'm intelligent, I'm sharp, but you don't have the qualifications. So one key thing was for me knowing that this is what I need, because there's no shortcut, and I can't say that I'm a lady, so I can't achieve this. So I knew that you want to work with any multinational, with any good institution, you must be an SCCA. I mean, who doesn't want to affiliate with that brand? Then I get up there, and then the first time I really wanted to apply for the CFO role in FINCA, my supervisor was very clear that you don't actually have the qualifications. We'll give you more years to go study. And I said, yes, it's acceptable, challenge taken. In 1 year, read day and night to get that course. So for me, it's really, you have to be focused. You have to put in the effort to get where you have to go to. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. I know I like to joke that having been in the seminary, I know so many verses in the Bible, but I don't know the chapters, yeah? But I know there's a certain line somewhere which says, and to whom much is given, more is expected, yeah? Yes. I'm sure even as you accelerate, it means you're really pushing against the tide, yes. Probably faster than everybody is. And I think that's why the F1 cars, the tires get worn out much faster, because they are really working against so much. So in this whole agenda of accelerating yourself and your career growth, what are some of the challenges that you faced? And I must say, this is a well-written, it's a subject that has been well written about. In the past, and much of even today, the profession is still more of a man's world. So there must be, and more, of course, there are the general challenges, right? Yes. But there are specific challenges that the female professionals tend to feel the brunt more than everybody else. Yes. I want to hear about some of those challenges and how you navigated. I'm sure there must be somebody right now, actually not somebody, very many people who are struggling. Yes. And probably them knowing that someone has been here and has triumphed could help them, give them more hope.
Yes, thank you so much. So I did have challenges, and most of them are not unique to me. And my first, which I also call a unique challenge somehow, was self-empathy. Yeah, self-empathy. For some reason, as a lady, as you get into this career, there's always something at the back of your mind that, but I'm a lady, I just came from maternity leave, why is my boss giving me too much work? I went through that phase. I couldn't tell my boss, but I went through it. I had my first child while at Ernst & Young, and the pressure in there, and I was like, why isn't anyone understanding my pressure? I went through postnatal depression, yeah, where you go back home and weep properly. And I always felt that my male supervisors then didn't understand what I was going through. And I pray that over time, and I know institutions right now are changing that over time, the male are able to understand what ladies go through. Because that time, it was even hard for men to understand postnatal depression. You know, you came with your slender body, then you had your beautiful daughter, and now you're looking like something else, my friend. Everything on your body has changed. So you're at work, while they're asking you for a report, you're shedding tears, but they're happening internally. They're not coming out. For me, that was the biggest challenge I experienced. And indeed, I think when my daughter made a year is when I left Audit. Yeah, because she was born on 1st December 2015, and I left in September 2016. Yeah, I don't know if at that time I was still being, I think that time we had learned to cope up and be understood. But before then, I had the challenge of self-empathy and feeling like I'm not being understood. Yeah, so that was my major challenge. And how have I navigated it? It's being able to prove that if you give me the space, give me the time, understand that I will deliver, I need to prove that it was worth it, you trusting me. So I have worked so hard to say that when my 2 kids came, those ones found me in FINCA, and I had times when I would work at 2 a.m. with a global team. Tell them, give me time to switch off and probably nurse the baby, but I will come back and support you. So you have to be able to keep and to prove that people are trusting you with assignments that as a lady you can deliver. Yeah, for me that's really been the biggest, yeah.
And let's speak about the role of SECA as a course. how, to what extent do you think that shaped your career? Did it turn it around? And what would you tell people about out there if you are preaching on this finance Sunday?
Yes.
What would you tell people?
Yes, and of course it would be so unfortunate to end the conversation without talking about the role of SCCA. So there's a very huge role, the spoken and the unspoken. Our education system in Uganda is not so elaborate to take you through the practical experience. And that's something you only find in SCCA. But of course, to start with is the bigger picture of the brand. I got to learn about SCCA when I was at Ernst & Young, because it was a big deal. I mean, why are you not part of a global brand? And us in Namagunga, we always said that head held high, you move on. So from the beginning, I knew that how do I soar this world? How do I top the tables without this brand? For me, that was a big deal in itself, by the way, because in our time, SCCA and its tagline was all over the place. So one was that I got to be lucky. I call myself lucky to have been in an institution that opened me up to that, and being able to do the studies. I made this childbirth and all that. But it shaped me to what I am today. The practical experience that you find in SCCA, I'm telling you, my friend, would fail those papers. Yeah? You can't believe I was an auditor, but at some point I failed the audit paper twice. Yeah, and then I kept saying, do you know,
do your clients know that?
Yes, there's even a time I called the SCCA UK number, the 44, and I said, but what is it? And when I look back at that statement, up to date, I laugh at myself, because that day I picked up my call, I had 48%, pass mark was 50, and I said, why am I failing this paper for the second time? And the lady with a very nice voice said, maybe you need to try harder. Maybe you need to be more practical. Don't write what you crammed. Step out of the book and tell us your story in the practical world. And then I even said, but I'm in sub-Saharan Africa. This school fees is high. But from that call, I understood that she was simply saying, don't read this book and cram it. Tell us what's happening to you in the outside world. And for me, it was a turning point. It was very clear from then that be practical, deliver what you have learned. And my life has never been the same. Never. It will probably never be the same. Yes.
I hear one of the key things I hear about the profession is pressure. Yes. Pressure. And if you had this magic wand and you could make things happen, and looking back at all the challenges you faced, or what are some of those things that you think need to be done differently within the profession? Could be in Uganda or at the global level. Since you have that global outreach and experience, do you think there's some things that need to be changed about the profession?
It's only one today, and I align that to what the dynamics that have happened in the world today. Back in our time, we could only do SCCA here at MAT. Yeah, you come, you pick your books, students, you go read. If you're not here at MAT, but as an auditor, you're already probably in the field in Namamve, auditing a manufacturing company, and you have to drive back here and attend. But right now, a lot has happened with the whole changes in the environment, the work from home. So there's someone who's probably a mother somewhere. She's breastfeeding, but she has to drive, probably come to a physical class. So for me, the biggest change would be enabling the brilliant minds, the ones that have the vision and the dream to do this course, be able to access it from where they are. And I think SCCA rolled that out about 2-3 years ago. I hope it's doing very well because I had a workmate at ERA who was now studying online. The exams were online, but keeping it up and advancing it. Yeah, because I've done school in some of those universities like in India, and everything was now happening seamlessly online. So keeping it up and developing it better to be able to support all those people that want to do the course from far. Yeah.
Do you look at yourself as a CFO who likes to cut costs or to increase revenue?
No way. No way. So, strangely, that's the mindset of a CFO, by the way. A typical CFO 5 years ago was in cutting costs. A good CFO 2 years, a year and a half ago is a different CFO. So a CFO who is in cutting costs is no longer surviving in the industry because we've become now business partners. When you look at the teams we lead, we have transformed them from being the reporting accountants who only analyze costs to being the teams that advise that what can I do to grow business. And you cannot do that without investing money. So as strange as it may sound, today I'm one of the CFOs that works on business proposals and gives them to the commercial teams. And I say, please go cut prices for the loans to be able to grow business. I'm doing that now because we've understood that you can't get when you've not put in something. You have to be able to add in and to be able to get more. So no, I'm not the one that cuts costs. I'm the one that grows the revenues.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you met your younger self at Namagunga, maybe not Namagunga, there you are still a little bit confused. You didn't know where you were going. Maybe in your days when you just started out at Audit or at MOBS, what would you, knowing all the things that you know about the profession now, and also having an idea of where you want to go, what would you tell your younger self in terms of what they should be doing and not doing to prepare themselves for a fruitful career in finance?
Yes, it's one. I would tell myself to go seek practical exposure. Yes, if I could turn back the hands of time, I would be able to support myself or through my parents get that exposure that early exposes me to the practical world. Yeah, because by then I would be telling myself that, the theory is not enough. Because we've seen challenges where people get top super fast classes and don't survive in the work world. Because the work world, the pressure is in there. What you need to deliver is so different. So I'll probably have worked with my relatives and probably my teachers and the lecturers at uni to be able to get me that early exposure. Of course, for us, we got it in our last year, in the last month of the last year, but I wish it could have been different. We would be very far. Instead of, being in my room watching Telemundo. Yeah, I would have, that's what I would have done with myself then, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel the finance schools and generally the education system, because you also have a view of the other employees who are coming into the business, even if they're not in your department, do you feel over the last 5 years, you could say, the quality of the graduates that are coming into the employment sector, are they getting better or worse, or they're stagnant?
I would say there is a slight improvement because a lot is happening. The youngsters today are being exposed to academics. And so in terms of qualifications, the youngsters are getting these qualifications because today you'll find someone graduating from university and they already have ACCA for those whose parents can afford. And we even have kids today who are doing those courses at the same time, like parallel, ACCA with the university course. It's happening a lot. The only challenge is that while they study all these courses, they miss the practical bit. And one of the key things I think I learned was that you need to have both the theory and the practical. But definitely the quality that's coming out is much better than our time. Yeah, they are more exposed. A lot has happened. A lot, especially in the IT space and the exposure. Kids they have the global knowledge today, and they will challenge you. And if they come there and they find when your mind is not up to speed, even as a leader, you may fall off your seat. So the quality coming out is very good.
How do you manage these Gen Zs? People seem to be saying there is a remarkable difference between Gen Zs and the above 35 people. The way they approach things, the way they look at the world, their priorities. Do you see any remarkable difference in how do you manage?
Yes. So I know that some leaders are really going through this challenge. Yeah, I know we smile about it, but it's real. Being unable to differentiate and tell that this is a Gen Z and this is an ordinary child raised from a very tough background, it's the job of a leader. Yeah, and it's a hard job. But I would say, comfortably say that I've not really experienced much of that challenge. And why? Maybe again, like we say, because of my current age bracket, because I'm falling in between there. I am falling a lot in the older space because of my serious career oriented background, because of the focus levels. But then age wise, I'm not so far from these teams. So how have I managed? I would say that I'm like a 2-personality person. Like I have a time when when I sit mind-wise, I sit in my Gen Z's shoes and sit, and I'm like, why is this person thinking like this? Like, why am I asking you why you're late and you're telling me I had things to do? Like, why are you telling me that? And my approach to that is very different. You know, I'm not going to shout and say, oh, you came, da, da, da. I'll sit you, I'll be like, by the way, I need results. And those results, you must deliver. How you do it, God knows for you. But the approach is very different. It's different from the way you will handle the other person. Very, very different. And you have to be able to think about it all the time as a leader. Yeah.
Just thinking behind that beautiful smile, what is worrying you about, the industry, the economy? What are some of the things that keep you awake? At least, I know now your kids are not crying anymore. Yes. So what worries you?
They cry. My youngest daughter is 4. But yes, in terms of the workspace, my biggest worry is waking up one day and I'm not able to keep pace with the world. And thanks to institutions thanks to SECA, for instance, we have a lot of CPDs, a lot of trainings. SECA has kept us alert, with the events that happen with Deloitte, where they always host us for the dinners and the drink ups. We get the updates of what's going on in the industry, and I'm like, why do some people miss these things? Because the world is moving so fast. We're still thinking about IFRS 9 and IFRS 16. We went into ESG. While we're in ESG, now we're in AI. So all over the place. So you may find your CFO who is still there dealing with manual reporting, manual everything. The world has moved, it's running. We're chasing the world. So my biggest worry definitely is being able to keep pace. It worries me. Even when I'm there and I've not read something in a week, I'm like, hey, did something happen and you're not aware? Yeah.
I hope you're reading the CEO East Africa magazine.
Of course, I'm always on LinkedIn and you know it. All the time.
Great. So yes. I think as we try to wrap up, because we could keep this conversation going on and on, because there's a lot of nice things to talk about. Of course, I wanted to ask you about issues to do. Your industry has been synonymous with financial crimes, and it's on record. I think I was reading the police crime report. I've seen a couple of other reports about financial crimes. Maybe before we wrap up, from your perspective, do you see things getting better? Are you guys becoming better people? And then, of course, most of the things seem to sit within the finance space. Not that you're the criminals, but rather you're the people who should be catching them. Yeah. Do you see things? Are you guys getting smarter? Are the criminals getting smarter? What's your perspective on that, and how do you think some of the things can be managed?
Yeah, thank you. And that's real. That threat is real. Yeah, with increasing frauds, with cyber security threats. The reality of the matter is that it can only get complicated. Why is it getting complicated? We're getting into the AI space. Where if at any given point you probably have a Trojan virus coming into your systems, someone will hack all your information, money will move. That's why I'm saying it can only get worse, because there's a lot of developments coming up. But it doesn't necessarily mean that the financial institutions are getting worse, Every single day, as the leadership, we are getting better, but the pace at which the criminals are moving is too much. So it's up to the institution and the leadership to say how fast do we need to move. Then when you came into an institution, a financial institution, you'll just find a risk department and an IT team. Today, you'll get there and you'll find an information security person. You'll find a systems hacker. Every day you'll get fist. At office, you receive an email, it's saying, dear CFO, my invoice was not paid. When you open it, your PC gets corrupted. But it's your own institution doing it on you. And they're telling you, come back and get trained because you have not learned. Yes, this is happening every week. Right now, at least in the CFO space, I get something that's strange, initiated by my own information security teams, to see if I'm going to open it. the institutions are quickly advancing, of course, to be able to protect customer funds and the stakeholder investments. But the institution is running so fast. Globally, we're running so fast. So each of us has to be able to keep pace, keep developing, keep training, help you track and be able to cover all these. Yeah.
Great. So wrapping up, your parting shots. What, in light of these conversations that we've been having, how do you think, or what do you think needs to be done to make the profession better, or to serve the world, or in terms of maybe the kind of advice you'd give to anybody in finance in terms of how we can improve the financial landscape in Uganda, make better leaders, and make the profession do its role in terms of creating a better world?
Yes, one is that we need to be able to invest in the finance teams. The truth is, if you work with finance teams today, you will realize that we need to invest in the teams to transform them from the traditional finance where you sit behind the table and just tick invoices, pay suppliers, and just every single day, that's what you're thinking about. We need to invest in teams to transform them into advisory teams. Yeah, because if you see today, the market is highly getting into data analysts. And that's what financial professionals need to be doing. Because we need to get into a trend whereby you're just reviewing the data, you're advising where the institution should go. How do you get your finance teams to be business partners with the rest of the departments? You have to invest in putting them there. As a leader, train them, but also the institution train the leader, because it's a whole cycle. Yeah, so for me, it's one stopgap. If it's not well managed, the finance profession keeps staggering. Yeah, it has to stagger. So of course, it's investment in terms of academic qualifications, improved training for the teams, and of course, finally, something I didn't want to forget, being able to give the teams a chance. So one unique thing about me is that while I was joining FINCA Uganda as a CFO, the current MD James Onyuta took a chance on me. And being able to monitor your team, the human resource teams, being able to see your staff from a junior age and say, this is the person we want tomorrow. And the institution investing in them to transform them into what they want to be. Because you could be having very many brilliant finance professionals, but if as an institution you don't realize it, then you may not invest in them. So yeah, that's very critical. But
you're the guys who are allocating resources to do all these things that you're saying should be done. Are you guys actually even minding your own, like looking after your own selves, like to make sure that there is enough being allocated to you and everybody else, or you actually want to be saving so that you can report profits for shareholders, and then after 5 years you look back and say, oh, I think we forgot ourselves?
There is that standard statement that's always going on, where they say, where one person says that, I can't train my teams, what if I train them and they go? And the other one said, what if I don't train them and they stay? So when you ask me, what do we need to do to change the profession, one of the critical ones was that the training can't only happen to the juniors, it has to happen to the leaders. It's like an all-round training. So no, we're no longer cost cutting. We are looking at the future and saying, how is my institution 5 years from now, or I should be investing in innovations. So no, we're not so much fighting. We ask for justifications. I mean, why do you need this money? But we come with you, assess together, and if your reason is very valid, and of course as finance, we should be able to see that for you as well. We work with so many projects, institutions and departments to come up with a decision. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much, Siima. Robinah, has been an interesting conversation, and we need to have more and more of these conversations, and I'm looking forward to the next one, of course. The viewers, the listeners, please keep watching, keep sharing these interesting conversations, and make sure, of course, you subscribe to our YouTube channel and all the other social media platforms from where you're consuming this show, and see you on the next show. Thank you.
Thank you too, it's been a pleasure.
CFO Playbook by CEO East Africa Magazine in association with SECA Uganda and Deloitte.